Behind us is the Capitol building of the great state of Alabama, and Ohio football is trying to put a big old capital W on the end of their 2015 season on Saturday in the Raycom Media Camellia Bowl. I'm Russ Eisenstein. Rob Cornelius joins me. It's Ohio and Appalachian State. The Bobcats at 8-4, the Mountaineers at 10-2. Really enjoyed our time here, Rob. A whole lot of barbecue, and one thing that these folks know down here is football.
Yeah, they really do. And for Ohio, the March 9 wins goes through this town, just like it did about 10 years ago on the Mobile trip. This is big, and for this team, and for this Appalachian State team, this is serious. Both are serious. Both want to be here. Both want to play.
All right, let's get into it here. What's the biggest thing that stands out to you about this 10-2 ball club from the Sun Belt?
Well, for Ohio and Appy, it's a rock and a hard place. There are two teams that run the ball very well when they're on, and two teams that stop the run very well when they're on. That's what we talk about all week with Appalachian State. A top defense, not a lot over 300 yards a game, sub 20 points a game, and they run the football, and they're going to burn clock. It's very traditional stuff. A lot of power sets in that offense.
Yeah, Ohio's really going to have to be mindful of a double-pronged attack. They could throw the ball a little bit. They could run it, too. Let's talk about their ground game. It's not the biggest offensive line in the world, but what Marcus Cox in this running game has been able to do has been churn out yards. 3 straight years of 1,000 yards for him. He's had a tremendous season. He's a junior. He'll have one more year on the top of the mountain there. So Ohio's going to have to be very mindful of a couple of pretty good wide receivers, Sims McElfresh being one of them, and then the running back Marcus Cox, and then quarterback Taylor Lamb. This is a good ball club that can produce some points.
Yeah, and Lamb's a sophomore, not super experienced, but his statistical numbers are good this year. And you mentioned O-line. They're small. That lets them be mobile. They run a lot of power. They'll bring a lot of guys, pull guards, pull centers, pull tackles from the far side around, and try and run at you. A lot like with teams who don't have a great running back, but they have a good running back on top of a bunch of blocking.
It'll be interesting because Ohio was able to keep a pretty good offense down in northern Illinois. And then at the end of the season, they played Kent State and Ball State, so they took care of business there. This will be one of the bigger tests that Ohio's defense has had.
No, and you look at that Northern game. You saw how Ohio was frankly torn apart by the inside zone running from Bowling Green. Well, when Northern came back and tried to run a lot of the same stuff, Ohio handled it. Substantially different team in the last month of the season, and hopefully this week.
So Ohio offensively, at the time of taping this, we're not sure who the starting quarterback is going to be. Is it going to be J.D. Sprague? Is it going to be Darius Vick? Sprague played pretty well at the end of the campaign. Vick has been hobbled by some injuries. So Ohio needs to be consistent, and the biggest test for Ohio will be that defense. They give up 318 yards per game and just 18 points per contest. This is going to be a supreme challenge for the offense for Ohio.
Yeah, it really is. Sprague's been good down the stretch, got hurt in that Northern game, but is back to 100%. But I think the good thing is you have trust factor. As much as you hate to have played 2 or even 3 quarterbacks deep on this roster, Greg Wyndham's coming at the end of a couple games and been, frankly, just fine. Won some games for his club. I think Ohio, no matter who's under center, is in this game. You're not going to get blown out based on whether it's number 15 or someone else back there.
Can Ohio stretch this defense out a little bit? One of the best things that they do is be able to get to the quarterback. 18.5 tackles for loss for Ronald Blair. He's their player of the year defensively in the Sun Belt Conference. You have to mark out for him on every play. The one thing that Ohio was able to do against Northern Illinois was spread the Huskies around, both on the ground and through the air. If you look at the spray chart where Ohio went to, a baseball analogy there, they really dotted the entire field. They're going to have to do that against the Mountaineers.
No, the good news for Ohio, pass protection-wise, O-line is better. Some guys with injuries are back. You're not in a situation where late in the season where you're only traveling 8 or 9 barely healthy offensive linemen. You're healthier at O-line. Maybe the unhealthiest guy in this team might be tight end Keith Heitzman, who's played through some killer injuries into this year. He'll play, but that's maybe where Ohio needs help is on that outside edge.
You can make the case that if Ohio were to get this victory, this would be the best team that Ohio has beaten in a bowl. Of course, Ohio knocked off Utah State, a pretty good Aggie ball club, and then Louisiana Monroe, also out of the Sun Belt, making their first appearance in a bowl, and Ohio took care of business there. But you can definitely say that this Appalachian State ball club is better than that Warhawk crew and that Aggie ball club.
Yeah, easily. Don't sleep on the Sun Belt. Don't sleep on this group. It's a new name to high D1, but the reality is the numbers they put up, they are legit right around top 50 in the country. RPI, Sager, whatever computer you want to spit it through, this is a good football team.
Should be a fun one. It's been a great trip. Time to get this thing going, huh?
Good so far. Let's finish this thing strong with a win and get to 9.
It's Ohio in the 2015 Raycom Media Camellia Bowl. Our coverage on the Ohio IMG Sports Network begins at 4:30 Eastern Time with the kick at 5:30 as Rob C. and I will have the call. It's the Bobcats and the Mountaineers of Appalachian State. That's our coverage. This is Bobcat TV.